The Adventures of Henry and the Sailor, Part 1. Henry was a curious and adventurous young boy, always gazing at the horizon, dreaming of faraway lands. He lived with his father, Captain Finn, a seasoned sailor who had spent most of his life exploring the seas. Captain Finn was a man of few words, but his deep, steady voice and wise eyes spoke volumes. He had sailed to places most people only heard about in stories: dangerous reefs, lush islands, and remote ports filled with strange treasures and hidden wonders. And now, Henry was ready to join him on his voyages, eager to see the world beyond their small seaside town. From the time Henry could walk, he was captivated by the sea. As a child, he would sit on the edge of the dock, watching his father prepare the Sea Explorer, a sturdy ship with tall sails and a polished wooden deck. His father would tell him tales of their adventures, of fierce storms, and quiet mornings where the world felt endless. Henry had always longed to be part of those adventures, to feel the wind in his hair and the salt in the air, just like his father. When Henry turned 10, Captain Finn knew it was time to share the journey with his son. He took him aboard the Sea Explorer for the very first time, ready to teach him the ways of the sea. As they set sail, Henry could feel a rush of excitement and freedom. Every day brought new lessons: how to steer the ship, how to read the wind, and how to navigate the vast ocean. Though Captain Finn was a skilled and experienced sailor, he had a soft spot for Henry. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, whether they were battling fierce winds or laughing at the quiet moments of calm between adventures. Henry quickly realized that the greatest treasure on their voyages wasn't just the exotic places or mysterious islands they discovered. It was the time spent with his father, learning from him and sharing in the wonders of the world together. The pair chat about all the faraway places they'll visit, setting the stage for many adventures to come. At night, they anchor near a mysterious island where Henry spots lights flickering on the shore. He and his father decide to investigate. The salty air whipped across the deck of the Sea Wanderer as the ship sliced through the waves. Henry clutched the side of the railing, watching the vast ocean stretch endlessly beneath the cloud-speckled sky. The rhythmic creaking of the ship's wooden beams and the occasional shout from the crew were familiar sounds, a part of his everyday life on the sea. But today, something felt different. It was a feeling that tugged at his gut, like the ocean itself was holding its breath. "Something's not right," Henry muttered to himself, squinting into the horizon. Captain Finn, his father, stood nearby, his eyes scanning the water with practiced ease. He was a man made of steel and salt, every inch a sea captain. His thick beard and weather-beaten face betrayed the years spent navigating these same waters. But today, there was an odd tightness around his usually calm eyes. "What is it, son?" Captain Finn asked, his deep voice barely rising above the wind. "I don't know. It's like the sea is different today," Henry replied, his fingers drumming nervously on the railing. Before his father could answer, the ship jolted, throwing Henry off balance. He staggered, bracing himself against the deck. "Hold on, Henry," Captain Finn barked, his hand steadying his son. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time, as if it were caught in the grip of some unseen force. Crew members scrambled to keep their footing, their expressions confused and concerned. Henry's heart pounded in his chest. "Dad, what's happening?" Captain Finn's eyes narrowed. He didn't need to answer. He already knew. He had felt the shift in the water, the change in the wind's direction. This wasn't a storm. It was something else, something far more menacing. Before either of them could speak again, there was a tremendous roar, a sound that seemed to come from deep beneath the waves. It was an unnatural, terrifying noise, like the cry of some ancient beast long forgotten by time. The ship lurched again, and this time, it felt like the sea itself was alive, moving with purpose, chasing them. Henry's breath caught in his throat. "Dad, what is that?" Captain Finn didn't flinch. His hands moved quickly, barking orders to the crew. "Prepare the cannons. We may have a fight on our hands." But Henry wasn't so sure. The roar had not sounded like an enemy's battle cry. It was something more primal, more desperate, something searching. Then it appeared. A massive shape rose from the depths, breaking through the water with a force that sent waves crashing across the ship. The creature was enormous, its slick, gray skin shimmering in the dim light. Its eyes were large and black, with an unsettling intelligence that seemed to pierce through the chaos around it. Long, scaled tentacles spiraled from its body, slapping against the water with thunderous force. The crew gasped in horror and awe. "A sea monster," someone shouted, but Henry's mind was racing with questions. What did it want? Why was it here? Captain Finn stood still, watching the creature with unblinking eyes. "Everyone keep calm. We don't want to provoke it." Henry's hands trembled as he gripped the railing. His father's calmness, so often a source of reassurance, felt distant now, almost unreal in the face of such a terrifying sight. "Does it look like it's attacking us?" Henry asked, his voice barely a whisper. Captain Finn squinted at the creature, which circled the ship slowly, its enormous form casting an eerie shadow across the water. "I don't think it's attacking us, Henry, but it's definitely interested in us. We need to figure out why." Henry nodded, though his heart still pounded in his chest. He watched as the creature's long, sinuous body coiled around the ship, its movements slow but deliberate. The ocean seemed to quiet around them, as if the creature itself had commanded silence. The crew's chatter began to rise in volume again, a mixture of fear and confusion. Some murmured about weapons, others about escape routes. Captain Finn raised his hand, signaling for silence. His eyes never left the creature as he called out to his son. "Henry, stay close to me. We need to think this through carefully. We don't want to make any rash decisions." Henry nodded, swallowing his fear. The ship swayed again as the monster brushed against the side, but it didn't attack. Instead, it paused, its black eyes studying them intently. Henry's mind whirled. Why wasn't it attacking? And why was it so focused on them? The creature didn't seem like an ordinary predator, hunting for food. It was waiting for something. But what? Suddenly, a strange thought occurred to him. Could it be trying to communicate? "Dad, do you think it wants something from us?" Henry asked, his voice trembling. Captain Finn turned to his son, a thoughtful look in his eyes. "Could be," he said slowly. "But what could a creature like that want from us? We've got nothing to offer but our lives." The monster let out another low, rumbling growl, and Henry could have sworn it was a response to his question. The growl was not menacing, but curious, like an invitation or a plea. "I think it's trying to tell us something," Henry said, his voice gaining strength. "We need to figure out what." Captain Finn frowned, but his expression softened. He knew his son was right. They had dealt with storms, pirates, and all manner of dangers on the sea, but this was something different, something unknown. "All right, Henry, let's try talking to it. But we'll do it carefully. We don't know what kind of creature this is or what it's capable of." Henry nodded, his pulse quickening. This wasn't the kind of adventure he'd been expecting when he set out on this journey, but there was no turning back now. The creature continued to circle the ship, its eyes never leaving them. Henry's mind raced. What if it's lost? Or trapped? Or maybe it's trying to find something? Captain Finn considered this for a moment. "It's possible," he said. "We've heard stories about sea creatures that seek help. But how do we communicate with it?" As if on cue, the creature let out another strange sound, a soft, melodic hum that vibrated through the air. It was a sound so deep, so resonant, that Henry could feel it in his chest. It wasn't a roar or a growl. It was a song. "A song," Henry murmured, his eyes wide. "Maybe it's trying to tell us something." Captain Finn squinted at the creature, then turned to Henry. "That's it, son. It's trying to communicate through sound. But we can't just shout at it. We need to respond." "Respond," Henry echoed, unsure of how to do that. The ship was eerily quiet except for the hum of the creature, which seemed to wrap around them like a blanket. Captain Finn knelt beside his son, his voice low. "Henry, think. Is there any sound we can make that might answer it? Something we could use to communicate back?" Henry thought for a moment, then his eyes brightened. "The ship's bell. It makes a deep, resonant sound. Maybe it'll understand that." Captain Finn's face lit up with a grin. "Good thinking. Let's try it." The crew watched curiously as Henry hurried to the bell, which hung near the ship's stern. He pulled on the rope, sending a deep, booming sound echoing out across the water. The bell rang 3 times, its reverberations slicing through the silence. The creature responded. Its massive form swirled, then stopped, its eyes narrowing as it seemed to listen intently to the bell's sound. Slowly, it hummed again, a longer, more intricate melody that reverberated through the air. Henry's heart raced. It was working. The creature was responding to their signal. "Keep going, Henry," Captain Finn urged. "Play the bell again." Henry rang the bell once more, and this time, the creature's song grew louder and more complex. The ship rocked gently as the creature's vibrations rippled through the water. Then, to Henry's astonishment, the sea monster's tentacles reached out, not in attack, but in what seemed like an offering. The large, coiled limbs moved gracefully toward the ship, touching the wood gently. "Look, Dad, it's helping us," Henry exclaimed, his voice full of awe. Captain Finn watched in wonder. "I think it is, Henry. It's not here to hurt us. It wants to make contact, to communicate." "But why?" Before they could ponder further, a small, glowing object rose from the water, cradled within the coils of the creature's tentacle. It was a gemstone, smooth and gleaming, a rich sapphire blue. Is this what it wants?" Henry asked, pointing. Captain Finn nodded. "It seems so. It's giving us a gift, a token. Maybe it's a way of saying thank you." Henry's eyes widened in realization. "It's not a threat at all. It just wanted to be understood." Captain Finn smiled proudly. "Well done, son. We've made a friend today." The sea monster slowly withdrew, its tentacles sliding back into the depths. The ship rocked gently, and the tension on board began to lift. The creature didn't attack. It simply disappeared back into the ocean, leaving only the memory of its strange, melodic hum. And on the deck of the Sea Wanderer, father and son shared a look of astonishment, both realizing that sometimes, even the greatest of challenges could turn into the most unexpected of friendships. As the sea settled back into its usual rhythm, Henry looked up at his father, a wide grin spreading across his face. "We made it, Dad. We made a friend." Captain Finn chuckled, his eyes twinkling. "A sea monster, son. A sea monster. What a story this will make." And with that, they sailed onward, their hearts light, knowing that in the vast, mysterious ocean, even the greatest dangers could turn into something far more wondrous.